I'd like to call this meeting of the Narragansett Regional School District School Committee to order. Would you all please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone. This meeting is being recorded, but unfortunately it is not being live streamed due to technical issues, which we're aware that other folks have been experiencing as well. So we will make sure that the meeting is available as recorded as soon as we can after this meeting. Moving into our business for the evening. We do have some meeting minutes, and I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of June 5th, 2025 as written.
So
Motion by Sean, second by Heather. Any questions or comments about those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, and I say yes, so that is unanimous. We also have bills and payroll, and I would accept a motion to accept the bills and payroll warrants as presented.
Second.
Motion by Danielle, second by Sean. Any questions or comments on those bills and payroll? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, and I say yes, so that is unanimous. We do not have a student representative this evening, but we are looking forward to them joining us once school is back in session. Is there any public input this evening? Please state your name and your address. And just so that you are aware, we are holding everyone to 3 minutes this evening. And just as a reminder, no names outside of Dr. Cassavitz can be referenced in case anyone is referencing staff of the district.
Hi, I'm Sylvia Haley, 5 Myrtle Road, Phillipston, Mass. I was at a meeting this week and there was mentioned that parents are concerned from Phillipston that they're being told that they're not going to be allowed to go to the elementary school. I don't know about that. Is that just a rumor, or I guess there was some mention during a meeting. I don't know if I can mention the meeting. But during the meeting, and that voiced parents' concern from Phillipston.
Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. We'll make sure that we talk a little bit more about Templeton and Phillipston agreement during the superintendent update.
Thank you.
NDEA is still on a much deserved break, though I hear they're all coming back very soon. We look forward to hearing more from them. FY26 budget update. Is there anything we need to know about, Anne Marie?
They did everything early this year and there wasn't really any changes, so we're in good shape.
All right, excellent. We will move right into business manager's report.
I just actually posted them in the right spot, so they were in the wrong spot. For you, grants, we're just beginning to start writing them. And we're just beginning with the general fund, so it's not a slow start, but there isn't much to show yet.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments about what's been shared so far, or doing good? All right, we do have an update to the student and family handbook. Ms. Superchief, can I let you speak to this?
Yes, absolutely. You'll see, it's a pretty minor update, but you'll see on, I can't apologize, I don't have the page number, one of the opening pages where we have our notice of non-discrimination, that we've added a clause in there regarding content of curriculum. And that has come out of some recent federal updates, page 5, thank you. And out of the recommendation of our district attorney as well as MASS's attorney. We will likely be having some procedural updates down the road. We're waiting for updates and suggested procedures, but in the short term, we wanted to put that notice in our handbook to make sure folks are aware and that it's included in our current handbook going into the school. Additionally, staff names were updated. I did not turn those red because when we originally voted, gave us permission to update those, but there are a few updates to some administrative staff names and roles as well.
Okay. So we'll get a motion on the floor and then we'll see if there are any questions. I would entertain a motion to approve the updates to the 2025-2026 student and family handbook as presented. Motion by Sean, second by Heather. Any questions or comments about those updates? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained, and I say yes, so that is unanimous. So we can get that out. Are there any other curriculum and instruction updates at this time?
Not formally, but we are excited next week to be welcoming our newly hired staff members for our mentor new hire orientation and induction. And we currently are slated to have 6 new hires attending that this year, which is a low number for us, but a really strong pool of folks. And I would be happy to report out on that at our next meeting too, on how that went. But you'll likely see some pictures of them on Facebook as we welcome them and take them on a tour of our communities on the bus. And talk about our new district's strategic plan and some other really important things for them to kickstart a great year. And they'll have a chance to meet their mentors and do some work with their mentors on the second day of that as well.
So much. Okay, in terms of surplus, we do have some surplus items this evening. Susan, any details you want to share around the surplus items?
I'll let Molly talk about that. if that's
Oh,
okay. So
that
majority
is
of
just
it is
fine.
close. I can tell just a couple pieces of equipment, a stationary bike, excuse me, that's in fair but very old condition, not usable anymore. And some cheerleading gym mats that have seen better days and
Noted.
they're just looking to.
Okay.
Those.
The curriculum materials that are on the list to be discarded are materials, to be honest, that teachers have pulled out of closets and out from underneath bookshelves and desks, and they are not programs we currently utilize. So some of them are reading materials from before we adopted into literacy into reading into literature, excuse me, at the middle school. So they're outdated, no longer used program materials. And a lot of them are in pretty rough shape as well. So they've been reviewed by the district, and we would recommend that we discard them.
I would entertain a motion to accept the listed items as surplus.
So moved.
Motion by Sean, second by Heather. Any questions or comments about any of those items? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstained, and I say yes, so that is unanimous. Our next point is just to remind everyone that we still have a vacancy for Phillipson that we need to fill, so if you know anyone, we are very eager to fill that vacancy and have a full committee. MASC annual conference, I kept this on here. We talked about it last time. They don't really have an update. They still have not posted an agenda, which makes it very difficult for me to they sent it out today. Of course they did. Been preoccupied. Okay, well then they sent it out today. So you're gonna have a chance to review it. If you are interested in the content, please give me a shout. Budgets are very tight this year, so we didn't, I guess, pre-plan for folks to attend like we usually do. Also, there was no agenda, so it was a bit tough for us to see whether or not it was one whose content really fit our needs as a district. But we can now take a look at that, and I will look at my email. Thank you very much, Danielle. The superintendent report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, we come out of the summer, and summer's officially over. It's the beginning of August, in a lot of ways, because we are really steaming right along to get the buildings and everything moving forward. And one of our biggest endeavors every year is, of course, staffing. I really don't want to jinx us, quite frankly, because as Molly had just pointed out, the very low number for new staff orientation or teacher orientation indicates that we, at least at this point, have not, we don't need to or have not had to replace anyone, at least. well, midsummer, right? Because whatever openings we did have, we posted at the end of the school year, May and June, and so far, as of right now, we have across the buildings, we have very few actually. We need just one paraprofessional down at the elementary school. We need, the middle school is completely staffed at this point. The high school is in the process of securing a foreign language teacher. I'm not sure where we are in that, but we would still consider that, of course, an opening. And I believe 4 pair positions at the high school, but probably 3 after tomorrow, unless something has changed in the last hour or so. Okay, so all told that, that's good this time, but witching hour is upon us for the next couple of weeks, so we cross our fingers and hope that no one thinks. What Molly's doing is she's double checking the doors because we're not able to get a hold of her chair. Figure out that, so she's not thinking because of the staffing report I get. So in other, and I'll get into the summer facilities and those type of things, but the regional agreement, as we've talked about on multiple occasions, as you may remember, May 11th is the date I sent out an email to the school committee, to both member towns to inform them all that we've sent them voted draft regional agreement for their review. And just as a recap, Templeton voted on the town floor 2 years ago with an amendment to that draft. The school committee voted prior to that to send it to the town meeting. And then not much happened. Meaning Phillips did not put it before its voters, has not the last 3 years at this point. So what we did is we, on the behest of the school committee, I re-engaged Department of Ed and said, how would I go about this? And so with the amendment that was made on the floor, that fateful year from Templeton, the school committee just last May voted an affirmative to accept that. And it was sent again to the town of Templeton on May 11th. I'm sorry, town. On May 11th, and the chief administrative officer, Admiral Montaigne, did send me a confirmation email that he has received. I do not have any follow-up or further information on that. In regards to conversations that are taking place, I know that student enrollment is, because we're gonna get student enrollment here in a second, although I don't have numbers for you because we're just still compiling and kiddos are still coming and they're going, and we won't have, well, we don't have the real number till October, but as we get closer, certainly the September will be a good guide to how we will be in terms of how many students we have where. We are full at the elementary school. We have talked about that a lot. We are nearing its capacity, depending on not depending, but when you look at the occupancy rate limits, depending on whether or not you take pre-K as an entity as a whole, right? So in other words, if you have 90 students in pre-K, they count 90 every single day. Well, as we know, we have one full-time class, but kindergarten generally runs, in 3 days, 2 days, et cetera. So I think there has been a lot of conversation about that. I think, at least from honestly the Templeton side of things, of the ledger. We of course have talked about it for a long time in terms of the district. But moving forward, we're gonna have to keep our eye on the numbers. We don't know what it's going to be coming up. There are no plans to stop the students that we are lawfully engaged to educate. That is absolutely our charge regardless.
I think the way I would state it is that the state recognizes us as a district.
Sure.
And recognizes the member towns as Templeton and Phillipston. And therefore, Templeton and Phillipston students we are obligated to receive them into our schools for the 2025-2026 school year and for the foreseeable future unless the state for some reason approves a change in that. So the state views us as a district, regardless of whatever the current state of our regional agreement is, though they would like us to get that signed. And therefore, students from Templeton and Phillipston are welcome at our school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, absolutely. And that has been confirmed that we are in fact a valid district. Of course, we are. I mean, I say that, I shouldn't say it so,
Yeah.
blasé, but we are, of course, a school district. And so at this point, there's certainly, this is a conversation that needs to be had, needs to happen with all of the parties in the same room, my humble opinion. And this is an issue that we need to address. And we want to address, obviously, as we move forward. So, any questions from the committee on that? More to come on that as well. Moving forward. So when we start talking about our summer facilities update, I think folks that just really take it for granted when I say the custodians are amazing. And every year we go, oh my God, look what they've done. Look what they've done. Two very large buildings. They have been working, tirelessly since the day after the last day of school. I don't think a lot of people understand that everything comes out of those rooms. Everything goes back into these rooms across the district. And so they have been working hard, not only just inside the building, but outside the building to make sure that we're ready to go. And, Keith Parker and his crew just do a fantastic job every single year. And our buildings are ready to welcome students, for the school year. But specifically, you may have noticed that we have pavement on our driveway. And I say that because the drop-off inner circle has been a bit of an adventure for those folks who have to drop their children off. It's been an adventure. So, as we talked about, probably in April, I'd have to look back, but Senator Durant's office gave us a call in April, early May, to see if we had any projects that, if approved from the Fair Share Act, and it's called Fair Share Act requests. And we sent them three. We sent them three one-time projects that, would fit the description. And of course, one of those was the main parking lot and the inner drop-off circle. So, as I reported out, Senator Durant's office was able to secure $100,000 to that venture. What that has done is that they completely reground, and leveled and fixed some very broken runoff drains. Some of them were concerned, very candidly. So that happened in the inner circle, the drop-off circle. The larger parking lot is not going to be reground because that would have been more of an expense, obviously. So they are going to give it a top coat and repave it and reline, of course, all the parking spots. And they fixed a pretty broken sewer drain and runoff drain in the middle of the parking lot. So that was, we were happy that this all happened because it would have just cost us more problems down the line, unbeknownst to us. This is because we received it not in time for this meeting. We received, as folks know, the MSBA came out at the very end of the summer last year, and to see if we would qualify for the roof for green repair, and we did. And we've been in that process, moving forward to see where it would land. And so for the past, it's been a year that through many of the processes, going up on the roof, doing all kinds of core samples, infrared, just the whole, really the whole deal. It's taken almost 5 months to do that. We now have their proposal, or at least what is wrong with the roof, what is right with the roof, what needs to be fixed, what should be fixed. And that it will need to be on our next agenda item, and we probably would start to the facility subcommittee and work our way up through that. Of course, the towns, we did communicate that we were in this process, so we'll message out this information to them as well. We'll hopefully have a meeting, of all boards to talk about this, but that really needs to be on the agenda fairly as soon as possible, only because the implications of if there's going to be funding for it, it has to happen at a town meeting. And we did receive it very late, though. I will say.
We just got the report this week. We
Yeah.
haven't even talked to the company yet. We have a meeting on Tuesday to go over the report.
They were supposed to get this report to us in June. And so, what I say to this is that, well, they certainly know the timeline of things. It was supposed to be June, and it came, I think, yesterday, the day before. So we didn't have time. And at this point, we haven't even talked to the OPM about what are we looking at, so more on that, obviously. Do you want to go right into cell phone?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I know that certainly the students, there's this thing going on at the State House, mind you, that there might be a cell phone. And so as you know, the Senate did in fact vote to enact a statewide, all schools, bell to bell cell phone. And so without going into all of the detail, but the Senate did pass the bill. They were hopeful that the House would consider it before the August break. They did not. So it technically still needs to go before the House and then to the governor's desk. And the governor has already stated that she is for this in many conversations. What does it require? Well, it's in draft form, or at least the bill has not been voted, but it is in fact a bell to bell. Cell ban, thank you. I was gonna say cell phone ban, telephone, and that includes lunches, and they're very specific, and there are some other things that may or may not make the final bill, but it would require school districts to have policies in place at the start of the 26-27 school year. What the school committee will need to ponder at some point is that this was on the docket to at least consider for a local policy. And so one, I guess the consideration would be to put something in place, at least de facto, for this upcoming school year, 25-26, in preparation for 26-27. That'll be something for the committee to consider, but that it is not, in fact, law. It still needs to be voted at least one more time from the House and forward from that. Any questions? Okay. Right. So.
Items. Anything else? Nope. All right. Items not reasonably anticipated. So for transparency to the public, we did receive a complaint about Dr. Cassavant. That complaint was received on Tuesday, August 12th. It means that I could not follow meeting law, and that was an agenda item for this meeting. So I did talk with legal counsel today, and our next step will be to schedule a meeting to review the complaint. So we will not wait until the September 18th meeting, which is the next meeting. We will schedule something before that. So please expect to see something in your email very soon about scheduling that date. So More to come on that, but we're not going to discuss it further today. School committee comments. Anybody have anything else to say? Oh, one, yes.
Yes. I am a lucky parent of an eighth grader who attended Warrior Academy yesterday, orientation over at the high school, and my son, when he attended it a couple of years ago, did not tell me any information. I couldn't believe the amount of fun. Like, you took something that could be very boring, here's your locker, and made it a game, made it memorable. So I know I'm looking at Anne, because she's a high school person here, but like, thank you. Thank you for hosting those kiddos and doing such a great, wonderful job. I'm actually really jealous. That could
This is O'Day.
This is O'Day, yes.
Yes, she was fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Master sentiments, that was really neat to look.
Well, there's lots of fun events coming up, so can't wait to hear all about them and how the kids are enjoying their back to school days. Any other comments? Good. Subcommittees are that. I need to get out an email letting everybody know their subcommittee assignments for this coming year so that we can get all those scheduled. As you can tell, there's already work to be done, as always. And I'm sure for most of our liaisons, you're still waiting for the school season to start back up, but Danielle, since you are our legislative representative, I need to know if there have been any updates beyond the cell phone ban.
Yeah, surprise, cell phone ban, that was my only thing to report out.
Okay,
I started watching that meetings ago, and
Yep.
it's progressing, we'll see what happens.
okay. We did have one correspondence, this was actually came back in June, it was a certified letter that was mailed out, so I just wanted to make sure the public was aware. The letter is attached in full, the original letter is attached in full on the agenda. It is very long, so I'm not going to read it in public session. To summarize the letter for everyone, essentially, a parent contacted school committee asking for us to reconsider I want to say deadline, that's not the word I'm looking for. The date at which a child is eligible to attend kindergarten. So the cutoff date, that was the word I was seeking. The cutoff date on which a child is eligible to attend kindergarten. I did explain to this parent essentially that we're not meeting as a school committee again this summer. This is something that would have to be considered by a subcommittee and then reviewed by the full committee and then voted on in both of those spaces. And so I did indicate that I would refer it to district operations as a matter for review and consideration, but that we couldn't make a decision based on one child's needs, but rather it's our responsibility to consider the needs of all the children in our district and to make a responsible decision based on a number of factors. So I will refer that matter in this letter to district operations for initial review of that policy and to see whether or not we need to make any changes. So I did want to make sure I shared that with everyone that I did suggest a referral. Okay, our next meeting.
I have a question.
Yes, you may.
So I think my only concern is is this a this year problem?
No. I clearly indicated to this parent that we were not, that we
No, I'm
could
talking,
not follow process.
yeah, I'm talking about for the student. Would it have been a this year problem for the student?
They wanted it to be,
Understood.
they wanted a one-off decision for that student. Or for this year, and I explained that there's a process that gets followed. That this would need to be reviewed by subcommittee, then main committee, voted on, etc. And if we couldn't make a decision for one student, we need to make a decision for all students.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. So next committee meeting is, next school committee meeting. Outside of planning this other executive session meeting is Thursday, September 18th. At 5:30 PM. And we do not need executive session this evening, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Motion by Sean, second by Danielle, all in favor? And that is the end of our meeting. Thank you, everyone.